I find it amazing how many small business owners in the UK are aware of equality laws, but they don't think those laws apply to them. If you run a small business in the United Kingdom, no matter how small it is, equality laws do apply to you. If you think I'm wrong, then keep watching. My name's Darren Bugg, and I'm always amazed in my everyday life how many business owners I meet who are aware of laws relating to equality, but think these laws don't apply to them. This is a very common misconception. Whether you have 1,000 employees, 100 employees, or whether it's just you working on your own from home with a very small turnover, the Equality Act 2010 does apply to you. Now, one of the reasons for this misconception is because people think that the Equality Act only applies to issues related to recruitment and staffing. And of course, it does apply to those issues. But what a lot of people don't realise is that the Equality Act 2010 also applies to your interaction with customers. So even if you're just working from home on your own, you still interact with customers, and therefore the Equality Act 2010 applies to you, no matter how small your company. Now, the first thing to say about the Equality Act is it replaces all the other acts that used to apply before. So if anyone talks to you about the Sex Discrimination Act or the Race Relations Act or the Disability Discrimination Act, none of those exist anymore. Every piece of law related to equality in the UK is now covered by the Equality Act 2010. Another misconception is that it only applies to businesses, and that's not true. So, for example, as well as businesses, it also applies to education providers, colleges, schools, universities, even private education providers, and even charities and not-for-profit organisations. It also applies to transport providers, transport services, bus and train operators, any type of transport, taxis, anything like that. It's all covered by the Equality Act. And also not-for-profit, public bodies, local authorities, all of those type of organisations, government organisations, non-government organisations, any not-for-profit body, they're all covered by the Equality Act. So if you're watching this and you run any type of organisation, there is a very good chance that you need to know about the Equality Act. Now, the first thing about the Equality Act is what are called protected characteristics. And there are 8 that I'm going to talk about today. And they are gender, gender reassignment, sexual orientation, pregnancy and maternity, disability, religion or the lack of religion, because you can also discriminate against somebody because they don't have a religion. So it's not just about people who are religious, it also covers people who aren't religious. And also age, and the one that most people know about, and that's race. Now, actually, there is another protected characteristic, and that is marital status. But I'm not going to talk about that in this video because that doesn't apply to your customer interactions. It only applies to recruitment and certain other areas of the Act. So for the purposes of this film, I'm just going to talk about those 8 areas. They are the 8 areas that you need to be aware of. Because on all those things, if you discriminate against a customer for any of those reasons, then you could get yourself into an awful lot of trouble. You basically can't do it. Gender, gender reassignment, sexual orientation, pregnancy and maternity, disability, religion or lack of it, age and race. All of those issues, it's an absolute massive no-no. You cannot discriminate against any of your customers on that basis. So for example, refusing to sell something to somebody or not giving them the same level of service that you would give to another customer or anything at all to do with the way that you interact with your customers. It's all covered within those 8 protected characteristics. I just need to make an important point at this stage, and that is I'm telling you about the law as it applies at the moment. Now, with a new government, we may be in a position soon where some of the law does change slightly, but most of what I'm about to tell you will still apply. Any changes to the Equality Act are going to be fairly minor. So 99% of what I'm talking about now does apply, but there may be some changes. And if things do change in the future, then I will update you on those changes as and when they happen. Now, the Equality Act isn't just about goods and services and about recruitment and about staffing and about the way that you interact with your customers. It does lots of other things as well, which also apply to small businesses. For example, it prevents employees from discriminating against people who have responsibilities, for example, for family members, for children, for elderly people, or if they're caring for somebody with a disability. It also requires employers to prevent bullying and harassment. Bullying and harassment come within the Equality Act. And it stops people who are making complaints about these issues from being victimised. So victimisation is something where somebody may make a complaint about something and then they receive bad treatment as a result of that. Again, that's covered by the Equality Act. It also requires that employers make reasonable adjustments, and this is the phrase used in the actual Act, reasonable adjustments in the workplace to accommodate the needs of people who are disabled. And again, that could just apply if you just have a very small number of employees, so you still need to be aware of it, even if you're just running a small business. Something else that's important to point out is the Act requires employers to devise and implement equality policies and procedures. So obviously if you're a one-man band, this doesn't apply to you. But if you're just employing a very small number of people, you have to put into place policies and procedures that relate to the Equality Act. But the one thing that applies to everybody, no matter how many employees you've got, is the issue relating to customers. And that's where, if you're just a one-man band, the Equality Act will still apply to you. I hope you found this useful, and just one other quick thing I want to mention is that I have put together a very short training course for small businesses around the issue of equality, especially in relation to interacting with customers. Now, in addition to being legally qualified, I do have a law degree. I also have a master's degree in marketing and innovation, and I'm a fully qualified trainer and teacher with a lot of experience of running training courses. I spent the last 4 years working in a university doing lecturing work. And I also have DBS certificate, all the different safeguarding certificates and all the other qualifications that you need to be able to teach and train people. So for example, I am registered with the UK Register of Learning Providers. So if you're interested, please send me a private message through my YouTube channel and I'll send you a few more details. It's a very cost-effective course. It just literally lasts for half a day, and it's really useful for any small business owners who want to know more about what they must do to protect themselves against any possible legal claims. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, please like, please share, all the usual stuff. I'd really appreciate it. It's a big help to me. And until next time, I hope you're very successful in business, and I'll see you again soon.